Nick, the officer, jumped into the sea without hesitation to retrieve the seagull. However, as soon as he picked up the seagull's carcass, a shark, attracted by the scent of blood, slowly swam towards him. Seeing this, Nick quickly swam in the direction of the small boat. He managed to get back on the boat just a second before the shark could bite him. The three men, who had been starving for days, finally had a hearty meal. Afterward, they rowed towards their target direction. After an unknown length of time, they still couldn't see any sign of land, which once again plunged them into deep despair. Just when they were about to give up, suddenly, thunder roared in the sky. They quickly took out their clothes to store the only source of water they could drink. They thought they would have a bountiful harvest this time, but unexpectedly, the sky suddenly became overcast with dark clouds. Experienced Nick recognized at a glance that this was a sign of an impending hurricane. Frightened, Nick hurriedly called out to his teammates to grab hold of things on the boat. Sure enough, the next second, a huge wave instantly swept over them, knocking Nick into the sea. Fortunately, Nick quickly mustered all his strength and got back on the boat. However, before they could celebrate, another towering giant wave attacked them. Even though they used all their strength to hold onto the small boat, they were eventually pushed into the sea, and all their food fell into the water. Nick desperately swam to the surface and, thankfully, quickly returned to the location of the small boat. But at this point, they discovered that another teammate had been washed away by the seawater to an unknown location. They shouted with all their might and finally found him behind the boat. They grasped the small boat tightly with their hands. The officer suggested using the waves to flip the small boat over. The next second, the three men exerted their strength simultaneously and finally flipped the small boat over and climbed on. Just like that, the three men huddled tightly together and spent an excruciating night. When dawn broke the next day, their bodies and spirits had suffered a severe blow. The three men lay on the small boat in utter despair, quietly waiting for the judgment of the Grim Reaper. However, after an unknown length of time, one of the teammates suddenly discovered, to his horror, that an island had appeared ahead. He hurriedly called the other companions to get up. After confirming that there was indeed a small island ahead, the three men wept with joy. They desperately swam towards the small island. On the 34th day of being stranded in the Pacific Ocean, after drifting for more than 1,600 kilometers, they finally escaped death and returned to land, reborn.